Listen closely, because this isn't just about heartbreak, this is about respect. There comes a point in life where you've got to stop letting people treat you like you're a seat filler, like you're the backup plan, like you're the second choice in a story where you are the main character. If someone thought they could put you on the shelf and dust you off when it suited them, well, the day is coming when they will learn what it feels like to lose you. There is a dangerous mistake many people make, waiting for others to tell them who they are. They wait for a man's attention to feel attractive, for his approval to feel worthy, for his validation to feel valuable. But here's the truth: you will always be underpaid in love if you don't first recognize your own price. Think about it. If you walk into a store and the owner doesn't even know what the merchandise is worth, anybody can bargain, anybody can take advantage, anybody can walk out with a treasure for pennies. And you, my friend, are no bargain bin item. You are rare, valuable, irreplaceable. But unless you know that, unless you declare that, you will always risk being treated like an option instead of the prize. Now, let's get real. When a man treats you like an option, it's not because he's blind, it's because you gave him the impression that he could. That's a hard truth to swallow, but it's a liberating one, because it means the power is not in his hands, it's in yours. Too many people stay stuck asking, why didn't he choose me? Why didn't he see me? Why wasn't I enough? But the right question isn't why didn't he choose me? It's why did I let someone like him even have access to me? The day you start to see yourself clearly is the day the game changes. Because once you know your value, you don't beg to be chosen. You let people rise to the level of deserving you. See, knowing your worth isn't about arrogance. It isn't about walking around with pride or pretending you're perfect. No, it's about understanding that the love you give, the loyalty you offer, the time you sacrifice, that is currency, that is wealth. And you can't keep giving that wealth to someone who spends it recklessly. Too often, women are told to be patient, to wait, to compromise. But patience without boundaries is slavery. Compromise without respect is robbery. And waiting for someone to treat you right when they have already shown you they won't. That's not love, that's self-abandonment. And here's what I want you to hold on to. Your value doesn't decrease because someone failed to see it. A diamond doesn't lose its shine just because it's hidden in the dirt. A masterpiece doesn't lose its beauty just because it's hanging in the wrong gallery. The problem isn't you. The problem is you've been giving front row seats in your life to people who don't even deserve standing room tickets. When you know your worth, you stop auditioning for roles that were never meant for you. You stop chasing love and start attracting it. You stop begging for respect and start demanding it. But knowing your worth takes work. It's not something you wake up one morning and suddenly feel. It's built in the quiet hours when nobody is clapping for you. It's built when you say no to situations that dishonor you. It's built when you forgive yourself for the mistakes you made, and instead of beating yourself down, you rise stronger. It's built every time you remind yourself, I am not just good enough. I am more than enough. Self-worth is like a muscle. The more you train it, the stronger it gets. And once it's strong, no man can break it, no rejection can shatter it, and no betrayal can define it. Because let's face it, when you finally know your worth, the tables turn. The same man who thought you were optional will one day realize you were essential. The same man who thought you were replaceable will one day search for you in every woman he meets and never find you again. But by then, it won't matter, because you'll be too busy living, thriving, and shining to even look back. That's the power of self-worth. That's the first step in turning pain into power. Respect is not given, it's taught. It's not handed over on a silver platter because you showed up. It's established through boundaries, through standards, through what you tolerate and what you refuse to accept. If someone treated you like an option, it's because you allowed them to believe you would stay no matter what. And let me tell you, people test limits. They push, they bend, they see how far they can go. If you never push back, if you never draw that line, they'll walk all over you and call it love. But that's not love. That's exploitation dressed in sweet words. And it ends the day you decide enough is enough. Think about it. If you let a man disappear for weeks, come back, and you welcome him with open arms like nothing happened, what message are you sending? You're telling him, you can disrespect my time, ignore my presence, and still get my loyalty. If you answer every call, reply to every text, give in to every excuse, you're not building a relationship. You're building a playground where he can play games. Boundaries are not punishment, they are protection. They are not walls to keep love out. They are gates to keep nonsense from walking in. Until you build those gates, anyone can stroll in and take advantage. People often confuse boundaries with being too harsh or too demanding. But let me make this clear, a boundary is not about control, it's about self-respect. If you tell someone, I will not tolerate lies, and they lie anyway, then you leave, that's not cruelty, that's clarity. If you say, I deserve consistency, and they give you chaos, then you cut ties, that's not drama, that's discipline. And when you walk away, you're not punishing them, you're teaching them. You're teaching them that your heart, your time, your soul are not toys. You are teaching them that if they can't rise to meet your standards, they can't stand beside you. Here's the dangerous cycle most people fall into. They ignore the red flags, they justify the excuses, they give chance after chance, and then wonder why the treatment never changes. But understand this, what you allow is what will continue. If you keep rewarding bad behavior with your presence, why would anyone be motivated to change? The only way people learn is when you make them feel the weight of your absence. When you remove access, when you say, you don't get the benefits of me without the responsibility of respecting me. Suddenly, the game shifts. Suddenly, they see what they lost. Suddenly, they realize the standard was always in your hands. And let's be real, holding boundaries is not easy. It hurts to walk away. It hurts to cut ties. It hurts to say no when your heart wants to say yes. But pain has a purpose. The short-term sting of setting boundaries saves you from the long-term suffering of being treated like you don't matter. You've got to choose your pain, the pain of discipline or the pain of disrespect. One makes you stronger, the other makes you weaker. One builds your self-worth, the other destroys it. Which pain are you willing to carry? Because here's the truth. When you finally enforce your standards, the whole dynamic changes. People who are not serious will fall off. People who only wanted convenience will disappear. But the ones who remain, the ones who respect you, the ones who match your effort, those are the people worthy of your time. Boundaries filter out the temporary from the permanent, the pretenders from the contenders. And when a man finally realizes he no longer has the privilege to treat you as an option, that's when he feels the pain, not because you hurt him, but because you taught him. You taught him that your love is not cheap, your loyalty is not free, and your presence is not guaranteed. Life has a way of evening the score. The same man who thought you'd always be there, waiting, will wake up one day and realize you've moved on. And not only moved on, but upgraded. Because here's the truth, when someone takes you for granted, it's not just about their blindness, it's about your breakthrough. The universe, God, fate, whatever you believe in, has a way of removing what doesn't value you and replacing it with something or someone who does. But first, you have to stop holding on to what's hurting you. The moment you release the grip, the replacement can arrive. Let me tell you something powerful. Nobody is irreplaceable when they fail to honor your presence. Think about it. At one point, you didn't even know this man existed. He was a stranger. Then, somehow, you let him into your life, your world, your heart. But if you lived before him, you can live after him. If you smiled before him, you can smile again. And if you grew once without him, you can grow even greater without him. People get stuck believing, I'll never find better. No, the reality is, he'll never find better. Because the kind of love, loyalty, and strength you carried is not mass-produced, it's rare, and rare things don't stay where they're not appreciated. Here's the irony: when someone treats you like an option, they're betting on your fear. They're betting that you'll stay no matter what. They think, she won't leave, she's too invested, she loves me too much. But when you finally choose yourself, when you finally say, I'm done, that's when the tables turn. Suddenly, he's the one chasing, he's the one calling, he's the one realizing that every woman he meets after you feels like a cheap imitation. Because love that's genuine, loyal, patient, and real, it doesn't grow on trees. He'll discover that too late. That's the pain of replacement. And listen carefully. Replacement isn't always another person. Sometimes the replacement is peace. Sometimes the replacement is freedom. Sometimes the replacement is rediscovering yourself. The version of you that laughs louder, sleeps deeper, and lives bolder without the weight of being treated like second best. When you step out of a one-sided relationship, you don't just gain space for someone better, you gain space for you. For your dreams, your passions, your healing, and the beauty of that is undeniable. Because when you're whole again, when you're glowing again, when you're unshaken again, that's when the man who took you for granted will feel the deepest regret. People often say they'll regret it one day. And let me assure you, they will. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but sooner or later he will realize what he lost. He will remember the times you stood by him when nobody else did. He will remember the nights you encouraged him when he doubted himself. He will remember how your love never wavered even when he failed you. And in that moment, when he looks around and sees nothing but empty hands, it will hit him. He had the rarest gift, and he let it slip away. That realization is heavier than any revenge you could ever plan. That is justice. So understand this. Being replaced is not your downfall. It's his. When he thought he had options, he gambled. He risked losing the very thing he could never replace. And when life shows him the consequences, it won't be because you sought revenge. It will be because you simply knew your worth and walked away. That is how, the same way they took you for granted, they will be replaced. And that replacement, whether it's another love or your peace, will shine so brightly that his memory will fade into the background of your story, while you stand tall in the light of a new chapter. One of the greatest traps people fall into after being treated like an option is the endless chase for closure. You wait for him to call, you wait for him to explain, you wait for him to finally admit that he was wrong. But let me ask you this: how many more sleepless nights are you going to sacrifice on the altar of maybe one day he'll give me the truth? How many more tears are you going to shed waiting for someone who already showed you he doesn't value your heart? Here's the raw truth: closure isn't something he gives you, it's something you give yourself, and the moment you realize that, the chains begin to break. See, when you go chasing closure, you're really chasing validation. You want him to say, you mattered, I was wrong. I shouldn't have treated you like that. But what if he never says it? What if he never owns up to his actions? What if he moves on like nothing ever happened? If your peace depends on his apology, then your power still belongs to him. And why would you hand over power to the very person who broke you? No. Closure is when you look at the situation, as painful as it is, and say, it's over. I accept it. I deserve better. That decision is where freedom begins. Understand this. Silence is closure. Indifference is closure. Disrespect is closure. Every unanswered text, every broken promise, every moment you felt like an option, that was the answer. You don't need a final speech. You don't need a bow on the ending. You don't need the story wrapped up neatly. Sometimes the story ends in confusion. Sometimes it ends in betrayal. Sometimes it ends in silence. And that's okay, because your healing isn't found in the ending. It's found in the beginning of a new chapter, and that chapter starts when you stop looking back for explanations that won't heal you. Closure also means forgiving yourself. Yes, you, because often the loudest pain doesn't come from what they did. It comes from the guilt of what you allowed. You replay the moments. You ask yourself why you stayed so long, why you ignored the signs, why you kept giving chances. But here's what I need you to hear. You are human. You loved deeply. You believed in someone's potential more than their actions. That doesn't make you weak. That makes you compassionate. But compassion without boundaries is costly. So forgive yourself. Forgive the version of you that didn't know better. Forgive the version of you that held on too long. Forgiveness is closure too. And let's be real. Closure doesn't mean you'll never think about them again. It doesn't mean the memories won't sting sometimes. It doesn't mean the scars will disappear. But closure means the pain no longer controls you. It means you can remember without breaking down. It means you can see their name, hear their voice, and no longer feel like the world is ending. Closure is strength, not silence. Closure is choosing to move forward even when your heart wants to look back. Closure is when you decide that your story is bigger than the chapter they were in. Because here's the truth. When you stop chasing closure, you stop chasing them. And when you stop chasing them, you start chasing yourself. You start chasing your healing, your peace, your goals, your joy, and the irony, that's when they often come running back. That's when they suddenly want to talk, suddenly want to explain, suddenly want to apologize. But by then, you won't need it, because you became the closure. You closed the book, locked the door, and walked into a future they can no longer enter. That's when the pain shifts, not to you, but to them. Because they'll realize the final chapter didn't need their words. It needed your decision. Revenge is a dangerous game because it keeps you tied to the very person who broke you. When you plot, when you obsess, when you strategize how to make him feel the pain you felt, you're still making him the center of your story. But here's the real power move. Shift the spotlight back to yourself. Your energy is too precious to waste on someone who couldn't recognize your value. Instead, pour it into your growth, your healing, your dreams, because nothing stings more than watching the person you thought would crumble without you rise higher than ever before. That's why success, personal, emotional, spiritual, and financial, is the sharpest form of revenge. Think about it. If you spend your days stuck in bitterness, he wins. If you spend your nights replaying his betrayal, he still wins. But if you wake up and decide, I'm going to make something of this pain, I'm going to turn every tear into fuel, suddenly the narrative shifts. You're no longer the victim, you're the victor. And the best part, you don't even have to mention his name. Your progress will speak for you. Your glow will speak for you. Your peace will speak for you. When you build yourself up, your silence becomes louder than any clapback you could ever give. See, Success doesn't always mean a fancy car, a big house, or millions in the bank. Success means building a life that makes you proud. Success is peace in your soul. Success is self-respect in your choices. Success is walking into a room without needing anyone's approval because you already know who you are. And yes, success can mean excelling in your career, chasing your goals, starting that business, traveling to the places you once only dreamed of. Because while he's busy trying to replace you, you're busy upgrading yourself. That's the kind of glow-up no one can deny. And let's talk about confidence for a moment. When you invest in yourself, when you work on your health, your growth, your mindset, your appearance, your future, you begin to carry an energy that cannot be faked. You walk differently, you speak differently, you shine differently. People start to notice, and trust me, so will he. Because while he thought you would stay broken, he'll have to watch you rebuild stronger than ever. While he thought he left you shattered, he'll see you stand taller than before. That's the silent revenge of success. You don't chase him, but your progress haunts him. What makes success the ultimate revenge is that it requires no malice. You don't have to plot his downfall. You simply focus on your rise. You don't have to mouth him, stalk him, or prove him wrong. The proof is in your results. When you stop chasing the closure of an apology and start chasing the higher version of yourself, you create a life so full, so beautiful, that his memory becomes irrelevant. And the irony, that's when regret often hits him hardest, because the very person he treated like an option turned out to be the one who never needed him in the first place. Remember this: pain can destroy you, or it can develop you. Heartbreak can bury you, or it can build you. Betrayal can break you, or it can birth you into the strongest version of yourself you've ever known. Success is the art of taking the very thing that was meant to crush you and using it as the foundation for your comeback. That's why it's the best revenge, because in the end, it's not about proving him wrong. It's about proving yourself right, proving that you were always enough, that you were always worthy, and that his rejection wasn't your ending. It was your beginning. Here's the truth that cuts the deepest. You don't have to lift a finger for him to feel the pain of losing you. Life has a way of revealing what someone took for granted. When you walk away, when you cut the access, when you stop answering calls and stop responding to excuses, that silence is louder than any revenge could ever be. He will feel it in the empty space you once filled. He will feel it when he realizes the comfort of your presence is no longer his to enjoy. The weight of losing you isn't something you force. It's something that falls on him naturally when you finally decide to remove yourself. Think about it. Every time he walks into a room where you once stood, he will feel the absence. Every time he hears a song you both loved, he will feel the echo of your memory. Every time life gets tough and he looks around for the steady hand that always held him up, he will realize that hand is no longer there. That's the pain you don't have to deliver, it delivers itself. Because the truth is, losing someone loyal, loving, and consistent is not something you can replace with a quick fling or a temporary distraction. The weight of your absence is heavier than any presence he will ever find. Here's what most men never expect. They think you'll always be there. They think no matter how many chances they waste, you'll always forgive. No matter how many lies they tell, you'll always believe. No matter how many times they leave, you'll always take them back. But when the day comes that you don't, when you finally choose yourself instead of waiting on him, that's when the reality hits. That's when the weight drops. And it won't just sting. It will crush him because he never thought he'd lose the very person who gave him unconditional love. The weight of losing you isn't just emotional, it's spiritual. Because when someone mishandles a blessing, life has a way of showing them the cost. He thought you were replaceable, but now he'll see that loyalty like yours isn't common. He thought he could do better, but now he'll realize he downgraded. He thought he had options, but now he'll discover that none of them compare. That realization is heavy. It keeps him awake at night. It creeps in when he's alone. It lingers in the back of his mind even when he tries to distract himself. That's the weight of losing you. It's not loud, but it's relentless. And let's be clear, the weight doesn't hit right away. At first, he may act unbothered. He may pretend he's fine. He may even try to replace you quickly just to prove a point. But replacements don't erase real love. Temporary people don't heal permanent wounds. And as time passes, as the noise fades, he'll begin to notice what's missing. He'll notice the way no one laughs at his jokes like you did. He'll notice the way no one supports him like you did. He'll notice the way no one understands his soul the way you did. That's when the silence of your absence becomes the loudest reminder of what he lost. Because in the end, the heaviest weight a man can carry is regret. Regret that he had someone loyal but didn't cherish them. Regret that he had someone who would have stood by him for life, but he treated them like an option. Regret that he thought he had all the time in the world, but time ran out. And when that regret finally crushes him, it won't just be about losing you. It will be about losing the version of himself that could have been better with you. That's the weight he'll carry, and that's the pain he'll feel long after you've moved on. So, let me leave you with this truth. Being treated like an option was never a reflection of your worth. It was a reflection of his blindness. You are not a second choice, you are not a backup plan, and you are not a convenience. You are a blessing, and the day you stop settling, the day you walk away, the day you choose yourself, that's the day the power shifts. That's the day he feels the loss, and you feel the freedom. Don't waste another second waiting on someone to see what you already know. Stand tall, stand firm, and stand proud. Because the greatest revenge, the sweetest closure, the deepest justice is not found in his pain. It's found in your rise. And when you rise, when you shine, when you walk forward without looking back, that's when he'll finally understand the weight of losing you.